got you pregnant on purpose. You're mine forever now.
Hold up. How does a woman end up hearing those words from the man she was falling for? Let me take you back to where it all started. 3 pink lines. Jane Sinclair's breath stopped. The pregnancy test slipped from her fingers, clattering against the bathroom sink beside 2 others. All positive, her vision tunneled. The small Harlem bathroom, cracked tiles, flickering bulb, rust stains she could never scrub out, tilted sideways. This wasn't real, couldn't be real. They'd been careful. She'd made absolutely sure every single time, except the memory hit like a fist to the gut. 3 weeks ago, Young Ho's penthouse, his mouth on her neck, hands sliding under her shirt, that smile that made rational thought impossible. She'd reached for the drawer. His hand caught hers. "I've got it, baby. Trust me. Trust me." Jane's stomach lurched violently. She barely made it to the toilet. When the heaving stopped, she pressed her forehead against the cold porcelain, gasping. Her hands shook so badly she could barely grip the edge of the bowl. He wouldn't have. He couldn't. But he did. She knew it, felt it in her bones, in the way he'd smiled, in the deliberate ease of that lie. Jane grabbed her phone off the sink with trembling hands. Young Ho's contact photo stared back. That dangerous smile, those calculating eyes she'd mistaken for warmth. She hit call. 2 rings. "Jane!" His voice was smooth. "Pleased. I was just thinking about—" "Come to my apartment. Right now." Dead silence. "What's wrong?" Careful now. Controlled. "You know what's wrong." "Jane!" She hung up. The phone immediately buzzed, his name flashing. She ignored it, grabbed the 3 tests and walked to her living room on legs that didn't feel steady. Her apartment looked different now. The second-hand couch, the water-stained ceiling, the window overlooking 125th Street, where normal people lived, normal lives that weren't imploding. Jane set the tests on the coffee table in a neat row. Evidence, proof, ammunition. She pressed both hands against her stomach, still flat, but not for long. A life growing inside her that she hadn't chosen, hadn't wanted, hadn't agreed to. A knock, sharp and urgent. That was fast. Jane walked to the door, looked through the peephole. Young Ho stood in the hallway, designer suit, hair perfect, expression tight, with something that looked like concern, but felt like calculation. She opened the door. He stepped forward. "Jane! What?" "Don't." She blocked him with her body. "Don't touch me. Don't smile. Don't pretend you care." His hands dropped. His jaw tightened. What happened? Jane stepped back, letting him enter. She watched him take in the room, the tests on the table, her tear-streaked face, her shaking hands, watched recognition flash across his features. Not surprise, recognition. 3 weeks ago, we had sex. Her voice came out deadly, quiet. "You told me used protection. That was a lie, wasn't it?" The silence stretched 3 seconds too long. "Jane, yes or no?" His jaw clenched, that muscle jumping in his cheek. That tell she'd learned to read when he was calculating his next move. "Yes." The word hung in the air like smoke, like poison. Jane's vision blurred, her stomach rolled. "Say it again." "I lied to you about using protection." Matter of fact, like admitting he'd ordered coffee. Nausea hit her hard. She pressed a hand to her mouth, swallowing bile. Not now, not in front of him. Why? She barely recognized her own voice. "You're mine now." He said it was like a business deal, like closing a contract. That's all that matters. Something inside Jane snapped. She grabbed the nearest test and threw it at him. He dodged. It hit the wall behind him. "What the hell are you talking about?" She grabbed another test, threw it. Her stomach heaved, but she forced it down. "I'm not some asset you acquire." Jane! The third test flew, hit his chest. You took away my choice. You... His voice stayed calm, cold. You consented to sex. I consented to protected sex. She was screaming now. Didn't care. The nausea came in waves, but rage pushed it back. You lied. You trapped me. That's all in the past now. He straightened his tie, actually straightened his fucking tie. We deal with reality now. Jane's stomach lurched violently. She turned away from him, hand over her mouth, breathing hard through her nose. Don't throw up. Don't give him that satisfaction. He took a step toward her. Jane. Stay back. She held up her other hand, swallowed hard. Don't come near me. You need to sit down. I need you gone. The room spun. She gripped the back of the couch, willing her body to cooperate. What will you do, Jane? His voice was surgical, precise. She looked at him through blurred vision. Think about it. He continued, relentless. You barely make rent here. Your graphic design work is inconsistent. You have student loans, no health insurance, no savings. He paused. How will you raise a child alone? You need me. Each word landed like a blade. Jane's stomach roiled with sick understanding. He'd calculated every detail, every weakness, every trap. That was your plan all along. Her voice broke. You knew exactly how trapped I'd be. I know you're smart. He adjusted his cufflinks. Smart enough to see we can make this work, build something stable for the child. The nausea surged. Jane rushed past him to the kitchen sink and vomited, hard, her body heaving while he stood there watching. She felt his eyes on her back, felt his satisfaction. When she could breathe again, she gripped the counter, didn't turn around. Get out! Jane, get out! She spun, wiping her mouth with the back of her hand. Or I call the police. Something flickered in his eyes. Anger, maybe, or respect. He walked to the door, stopped with his hand on the knob. I'm going to give you time to think. His voice was almost gentle. Almost. But it doesn't change what's real. You're pregnant. With my child. That's not going away. Neither is what you did to me. He left. Jane locked the door. The deadbolt. The chain. Then her legs gave out and she slid down to the floor. The sobs came violent and raw. Everything she'd held back crashed through. Betrayal, terror, rage, shame at being so stupid, at trusting him, at falling for someone who saw her as property. She pulled her knees to her chest and screamed into them until her throat was raw. Pregnant, trapped, alone, and somewhere in this nightmare, she had to find a way forward. 3 days. Jane had been staring at her apartment walls for 3 days. The pregnancy symptoms hit harder each morning. Nausea that lasted until noon. Exhaustion that made her bones ache. The food tasted like metal. Coffee made her gag. She'd researched abortion clinics online. Adoption agencies, government assistance programs. Each tab open on her laptop felt like drowning in slow motion. Her phone stayed off, didn't feel like speaking to anybody, especially young Ho. She couldn't hear his voice, couldn't risk the part of her that might still want to believe his lies. Jane pulled herself off the couch and walked to the window. A black Escalade sat across the street. Same spot as yesterday. She stepped back from the glass, watched from the side. The Escalade's windows were tinted dark, but she could see the silhouette inside, waiting, watching. Young Ho's men. Space, she whispered bitterly. So much for the space. But space meant surveillance. Freedom meant a longer leash. She'd just traded his penthouse cage for one with invisible bars. By day 4, the walls were closing in. Jane grabbed her jacket. She needed air, needed to move, needed to feel like a person instead of property. She walked to the corner bodega 2 blocks away, bought orange juice, the only thing that didn't make her nauseous. The October air felt good on her skin, real, normal. Her body kept changing whether she wanted it to or not. The baby, growing. Her jeans, getting tighter. Morning sickness turning into all-day sickness. She almost called Mia a dozen times. Her mum would know what to do, would hold her, would make this make sense somehow. But what would she say? That she'd been seeing someone? That she was pregnant? That the father had... Jane couldn't finish the thought. A week after she found out she was pregnant, she woke to silence. Wrong silence, the kind that made her skin crawl. She walked to the kitchen, started the coffee maker out of habit, then remembered she couldn't drink it anymore. The smell alone made her stomach turn. Something white on the floor by the door caught her eye. An envelope, plain, unmarked, slid under her door sometime in the night. Jane's heart started pounding before she even touched it. She knew the way prey knows when a predator is close, that whatever was inside would change everything. Her hands shook as she picked it up, heavy, multiple things inside. She tore it open, photographs spilled onto the floor. Jane's knees buckled. She grabbed the counter to stay upright. The first photo, her as a child, 7 years old, standing next to a man in an expensive suit. Kang Ju-won, his hand on her shoulder, possessive, proud. The man who'd called her Little Viper since the day he found her in Seoul. The man who'd raised her, trained her, owned her for 11 years. The second photo, David and Mia Sinclair. Recent, outside their Brooklyn brownstone. Red X's drawn over both their faces in thick marker. No. The word came out broken. Jane pressed her hand against her stomach instinctively, protecting the baby from something it couldn't understand yet. Third photo, Jade and Devon, her only real friends, laughing at a coffee shop. Red X's over their faces too. Fourth photo, Young Ho himself. Professional headshot, also marked for death. Jane's vision blurred. Her hands trembled so badly, the photos scattered across the kitchen floor. The baby fluttered, or maybe that was just her terror. She couldn't tell anymore. A note, single piece of paper, handwriting she'd recognize anywhere. Little Viper, time to come home. Kill Kim Young-ho in 72 hours, or everyone you love dies. You know, I don't bluff. My men are closer than you think. Father. Little Viper. The name hit her like a fist. Ju-won's name for her. The one he'd whispered when teaching her to kill, when praising her perfect form, when reminding her she belonged to him. He'd found her after 6 years of hiding, 6 years of peace, 6 years of being an ocean away in New York, 6 years of pretending the Viper was dead, that she could be just Jane, normal, human. He'd found her. Jane slid down to the floor, surrounded by photographs of everyone she loved, marked for death, her hand still pressed against her stomach. The baby, the innocent thing growing inside her, caught between 3 monsters. Her mind raced backward. 7 years old, Seoul, Ju-won appearing like a ghost to the orphanage. Come with me, little one. I'll keep you safe. Safe meant trained, combat, languages, how to seduce, how to kill, how to disappear. He'd renamed her on day 1. You strike fast, silent, deadly. My Little Viper. 11 years of being his perfect weapon, his daughter in name only, his asset in reality, until she was 18 and he gave her a mission in Bangkok. Kill a rival's associate. Seduce him first. Make it look like passion. She'd looked into the target's eyes and couldn't pull the trigger. Ju-won's rage had been biblical. She'd run during the chaos, bleeding, broken, desperate. Stumbled into a night market where American tourists were dining. David and Mia Sinclair on vacation, celebrating their anniversary. They'd found her collapsed between vendor stalls, took her to a hospital, stayed with her, and when she'd whispered, "Please don't let him find me," they'd asked no questions, just brought her home to New York, gave her a new life, a new name, papers, safety, made her human again. And now, Ju-won wanted his Viper back. The cruelest irony, she'd fallen for a Korean man. The one thing she'd sworn never to do. She'd avoided Korean neighbourhoods, Korean restaurants, anything that might connect her back to that world. But Young Ho had found her anyway. At a coffee shop in Harlem. Charming, dangerous, speaking perfect English with just a hint of accent that made her stomach drop. She should have run then. Instead, she'd fallen for him. And somehow, Ju-won had discovered it, discovered her, discovered that she was with a man powerful enough to be a threat. Why did he want Young Ho dead? She slapped herself. She couldn't think about that right now. Jane pressed both hands against her stomach now, felt the baby, real, alive, innocent, caught between three monsters. Ju-won, who wanted her back, Young Ho, who'd trapped her, and the woman she used to be. The Viper she'd buried. 72 hours. 3 days to kill Young Ho, or watch everyone she loved die. She couldn't kill him, couldn't tell him the truth, he wouldn't understand, couldn't run. Ju-won would slaughter the Sinclairs, Jade, Devon, everyone. Couldn't stay, they all died anyway. Jane's breath came short and fast. Panic attack building. No, she couldn't break. Not now. Not with the baby depending on her. Think. There had to be a way out. Had to be. Her eyes fell on the photo of David and Mia. Their smiling faces, red X's over them like tombstones. Decision crystallized. Get to them first. Hide them. Buy time. Then figure out the rest. Jane stood on shaking legs, grabbed her jacket, her wallet, her keys. The escalades outside didn't matter anymore. Ju-won's men had crossed an ocean to find her. They were closer than she'd ever imagined. She had 72 hours. The Viper might be buried, but she could still bite. Wait, before we continue, let me ask you something. Jane just found out the man she was falling for deliberately got her pregnant to trap her, and now the monster from her past wants her to kill him. Or everyone she loves dies. Would you run? Would you kill him? Or would you try to save everyone knowing you'll probably fail? If you're already hooked on Jane and Young Ho's story, do me a favour. Hit that like button right now. It tells me you want more stories like this. Do you think Jane can really save everyone? She's got 72 hours, a baby growing inside her, and skills she swore she'd never use again. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Smash that subscribe button right now, so you never miss a moment of these intense, dark romance stories. Now let's see what happens when the Viper stops running and remembers how to bite. Jane pressed her hand against her stomach. "Stay with me," she whispered to the baby, then walked to the door. No elaborate escape, no fire alarm, just speed and desperation. It was stupid, but she couldn't think right now. All that mattered was getting to her parents. She walked out her building's front door like she owned the morning. The Escalade engine started immediately. She felt their eyes tracking her. Jane stepped into the street, arm raised. A yellow taxi pulled over within seconds. "Brooklyn! Fulton Street! Fast!" She climbed in. The door barely closed before the Escalades moved, sliding into traffic behind them. "You okay, miss?" The driver's eyes found hers in the rear view. "Just drive!" Morning rush hour choked the streets, cars everywhere. The taxi crawled forward. Jane watched the Escalades keep pace 3 cars back. Her mind raced. She couldn't lead them straight to David and Mia. Actually, change of plans. Atlantic Terminal. "You sure?" "Yes." The driver shrugged, turned at the next light. Jane's phone vibrated in her pocket. Powered off, but still. No, wait. She'd turned it on by accident when grabbing it. Young Ho's name lit the screen. She declined the call. It rang again immediately. Declined. Atlantic Terminal rose ahead, the massive transit hub where subway lines and commuter rails intersected. Crowds. Chaos. Perfect. Here's good. Jane shoved cash at the driver and got out. The Escalade couldn't follow easily through the terminal traffic. She saw them stuck 2 blocks back, trying to navigate. Jane walked fast, through the sliding doors into the station. Commuters everywhere. Suits, students, tourists. She moved through them like water, doubling back, changing direction, using every trick Ju-won had taught her, emerged on a different street 5 minutes later. None of Young Ho men in sight. A silver Honda sat at a meter. Older model. Easy lock. Jane's hands moved before her brain caught up. Slim Jim from her jacket pocket. Always carried. Old habits. Popping the lock. Sliding inside. Hot wiring took 45 seconds. The engine turned over. Her hands shook on the wheel, but muscle memory had taken over. The Viper, remembering how to move. Jane pulled into traffic, heading toward the Sinclair house. 20 minutes if traffic cooperated. Nausea hit halfway there. She swallowed hard, gripped the wheel tighter. Not now. The baby could make her sick later. David and Mia, get to them, hide them, buy time. Her phone rang again. Young Ho, again. She ignored it. 15 minutes out, a black sedan pulled up beside her at a red light. Jane's heart stopped. Young Ho in the driver's seat, alone, staring at her through the windows. He gestured. Pull over. The light turned green. Jane gunned it. So did he. Her phone rang again. Young Ho. She could see him in her rear view, phone to his ear as he drove. She answered, pressing it between her shoulder and ear while gripping the wheel. Stop following me. Whatever's happening, let me help. His voice was strained, urgent. You can't help. She swerved around a bus. He stayed with her. You don't understand what's coming. Then tell me. Pull over and talk to me. I can't. People will die if I don't get to them first. What people? Jane, you're pregnant. You just stole a car. What the hell is happening? She was close now. 3 blocks from the Sinclair house. 2 blocks. 1. Jane hung up, abandoned the car mid-street, tires screeching, jumped out and ran. Young Ho's car stopped behind hers. She heard his door slam, his footsteps pounding pavement. Jane! She stopped on the sidewalk outside the Sinclair brownstone, turned. Young Ho stood 10 feet away, breathing hard, his perfect suit dishevelled, hair falling in his eyes, looking at her like she was a stranger. Maybe she was. Talk to me. His voice was raw. Please! What's happening? Why are you running? Jane's chest heaved, the words stuck in her throat. Behind her, the Sinclair house sat quiet. Normal. David was probably reading the paper, Mia making breakfast. She had to tell him, had to get help. Couldn't do this alone. There's someone from my past, she started. Gunfire erupted. The world exploded into chaos. Bullets tore through the air from 3 directions, rooftop across the street, parked van, the alley beside the brownstone. Young Ho moved on instinct, grabbed Jane, yanked her down behind a parked car. His body covered hers, pressing her against cold metal. Glass shattered. Car alarms screamed. People on the sidewalk ran, screaming. The Sinclair house, bullets ripped into the brick facade, shattered the front windows. No! Jane tried to move. Young Ho held her down. Stay down! My parents are in there. A man came around the car, gun raised, professional stance, dead eyes. Jane moved without thinking, grabbed his wrist, twisted, felt bones snap, took the gun from his hand as he screamed, put 2 bullets in his chest. He dropped. Young Ho stared at her. What the fuck? No time. More shooters closing in. Jane rose, firing. Her body remembered everything Ju-won taught her, every stance, every breath, every kill shot. Young-ho pulled his own weapon, joining her, but his eyes kept darting to her between shots. She fought like she'd done this her whole life, because she had. "Who are you?" he shouted over the gunfire. A bullet hit the car beside them. Another shattered a window behind Jane's head. The Sinclair front door flew open. David stood there with a shotgun. "Get inside! Now!" Jane grabbed Young-ho's arm. They ran. Bullets chased them up the brownstone steps. Jane felt one whistle past her ear. They crashed through the door. David slammed it shut, through the locks. Silence, except for sirens starting in the distance and Mia crying somewhere inside. Jane stood in the entryway, covered in blood that wasn't hers, gun still in her hand, chest heaving. Young-ho backed against the wall, staring at her, eyes wide with shock and something else, recognition. She wasn't the woman he'd gotten pregnant, wasn't the woman who'd cried in her apartment. She was something else entirely. David lowered his shotgun slightly. "Jane." His voice shook. "What the hell is happening?" Young-ho's voice came out flat. "Dangerous. That's what I want to know." Mia appeared from the kitchen, phone in hand. "Police are coming. I called 911. "No." Jane's voice was cold, steady. The Viper fully awake now. "The police can't help with this." She looked at David and Mia, the people who'd saved her, given her everything, then at Young-ho, the man who'd trapped her, who'd just fought beside her, both worlds colliding in this brownstone entryway. No more running, no more hiding. "Sit down," Jane said, "all of you, because I'm going to tell you who I really am." Outside, the shooters had vanished, but she could feel them circling, regrouping. She knew how Ju-won operated. This was a warning. Police fists hammered the front door. "NYPD, open up!" Young-ho moved fast. "Back door, now." David stood frozen in the entryway. "We can't just—" "Dad." Jane grabbed his arm. "We have to. Trust me." She pulled him toward the kitchen. Mia followed, crying, confused. Young-ho led them through, out the back door, into the narrow alley behind the brownstone. A black sedan sat waiting, engine running. "Get in." Young-ho opened the back door. They piled in. David, Mia. Jane squeezed between them. Young-ho took the driver's seat. The front door splintered behind them. "Police!" Young-ho pulled out of the alley as officers burst into the Sinclair house. Silence in the car except for Mia's quiet crying and the hum of tyres on pavement. David stared at Jane like he didn't recognise her. "Will someone tell me what is going on here?" "Not now." Jane's voice was barely a whisper. She held Mia's hand. Her mum's fingers were ice cold. Young-ho's phone rang. He answered in rapid Korean. Orders, coordinates. His tone left no room for argument. "Where are you taking us?" David's voice was steady despite the fear in his eyes. "Somewhere safe." Jane couldn't look at her parents. "I'll explain everything. I promise. Just... not yet." 30 minutes of highway, trees replacing buildings, civilization thinning out. Young-ho's eyes found Jane's in the rearview mirror every few minutes, unreadable, calculating. They pulled up to a gated property, high walls, security cameras everywhere, armed men at the entrance who waved them through without question. The main house was modern, expensive, isolated. Young-ho parked. More of his men appeared, a professional, armed. David pulled Mia closer. Young-ho spoke to them in Korean, sharp, precise, then switched to English. "You'll be safe. My men will protect you. We're not going anywhere without Jane." David's voice was firm. "Dad, it's okay." Jane touched his arm. "Go with them. I'll come find you soon." "Jane!" Mia's voice broke. I love you. Both of you. I'll explain everything. I promise. 2 guards gestured toward the east wing. David looked like he wanted to argue. Jane shook her head slightly. He took Mia's hand. They walked away, Mia looking back every few steps until they disappeared through a doorway. Jane stood alone with Young Ho in the foyer. This way. He walked toward a heavy wooden door. She followed. The study was all dark wood and leather. Books lining the walls, a desk that probably cost more than her yearly rent. The door closed behind them with a heavy click. Young Ho turned on her. Start talking, all of it. Jane's legs felt weak. The adrenaline crash hit her like a wave. I need to sit down first. She sank onto the leather couch. He stayed standing, looming, dominant. Who were those men? Jane took a breath. No more running. No more hiding. A man called Kang Ju-won sent them. Young Ho went completely still, every muscle locked. Say that again. You heard me the first time. His face turned to stone. You know Ju-won. He raised me. The silence was deafening. Young Ho's hand moved to the gun at his waist. Jane talked fast. I was 7. Seoul. He came to the orphanage, took me in, took you in. His voice was ice. Trained me for 11 years, made me a weapon, an assassin. His little viper. Young Ho's rage was palpable. You're one of his. I was. Jane stood. I escaped 6 years ago. Bangkok. He gave me a mission I couldn't complete. I ran. David and Mia found me, brought me here. I've been hiding ever since. And you found yourself in my bed, pregnant with my child. He paced like a caged animal. Very convenient. I didn't know who you were. Her voice rose. I stayed away from anything Korean for 6 years. Avoided Korean restaurants, Korean neighborhoods, anything that could connect me back to that world. You expect me to believe that? If I was still his weapon, why would his men be trying to kill me? That stopped him, logic cutting through fury. Show me proof. Jane pulled the crumpled note from her pocket. Her hands shook as she handed it to him. Young Ho read it. His expression shifted. He wants you to kill me. Yes, I got this morning. That's why I ran. To save David and Mia before... Before what? Before you completed the mission. Before he killed them for my failure. Young Ho studied the note, then looked at her. He looked up. Why now? After 6 years of you hiding. Jane's voice cracked. I don't know. Young Ho paced to the window, stared out at the grounds, his back to her. She spoke. Why does he want you dead? What sort of business do you have with him? Ju-won and I have history. Jane's stomach dropped. What history? More silence. Then, he killed my father. The world tilted. He and my father were business partners. They controlled Seoul together. I guess he got jealous. His voice was flat, emotionless. The kind of tone that came from pain too deep to feel anymore. His jaw clenched so hard she heard his teeth grind. He took everything from me. I've spent 12 years building power, building an empire, waiting for the right moment to destroy him. And I fell for you. Jane's laugh was broken. Jane's hand moved to her stomach. The baby, connected to all this violence, all this history. I can't kill you, she said finally, but I can't let him kill David and Mia either. So you're trapped. Again, between 2 monsters. I'm not a monster. Jane looked at him. You took my choice. Got me pregnant to trap me. What do you call that? He had no answer. But right now, I need you. The words tasted like ash. I can't fight Ju-won alone. I'm pregnant, scared, and I have few hours before he makes do on his threat and kill everyone I love. Then we destroy him. Together. Jane looked up at the man who'd trapped her, who was now offering to save her. You want my help. Her hand stayed on her stomach. The baby between them. Innocent. caught in the crossfire of their choices. And after. Jane's voice was quiet. When he's dead. What happens to me, to this baby? Young Ho met her eyes. We figure that out after. No promises, no trust, no illusions about what this was. Just survival. Jane stood, looked at the man she both needed and hated. We better start planning then. Young Ho spread maps across the desk. Satellite images, floor plans, security schedules. He's in the city. His finger tapped a location on the map. Wouldn't send assassins without being close enough to supervise. Jane leaned over the desk, studying the layout. Her breath caught. He has a place in the city. In Queens. You've been there. He used it as a safe house when I was younger, before I escaped. Guard rotations. Every 4 hours. How do we know he hasn't changed the pattern? He wouldn't. Ju-won believes in routine. Predictability equals control. Young Ho pulled out his phone, sent rapid texts in Korean. I'm mobilizing everyone. We hit him tonight. Jane straightened. I want to see David and Mia first. He looked at her, nodded. The East Wing was quieter, comfortable but clearly monitored. David sat reading. Mia looked up when Jane entered, immediately pulling her into a hug. Sweetheart, are you okay? I'm fine, Mom. Jane held her tight, then pulled back. I need to tell you something. Everything. She sat them down, told them, all of it. Seoul, Ju-won, the training, the Viper, Bangkok, the mission she couldn't complete. Mia cried. David's face went pale, but he didn't interrupt. And Young Ho? David asked quietly. The pregnancy? Yes, I am pregnant and the father is Young Ho. Jane's voice was steady. But now you're working together. To survive. To kill Ju-won. After that. She shook her head. I don't know. David stood, pulled her into his arms. Come back to us. Safe. I will. I promise. Mia held her face. We love you. No matter what you've done. No matter who you were. You're our daughter. Jane's throat tightened. I love you too. 6 hours of planning. Coordinating teams. Checking weapons. Strategy. Night fell. They moved. 4 vehicles. 20 men. Jane and Young Ho in the lead car. The Queen's safe house sat dark except for perimeter lights, exactly as Jane remembered. Young Ho spoke into his radio. Teams 2 and 3, east and west flanks. Team 4, block the street. No one gets out. Jane checked her weapon. Muscle memory. The Viper waking up one last time. Ready? Young Ho asked. Let's end this. The explosion at the front gate was precisely timed, controlled chaos. Young Ho's men poured through. Jane went through the service entrance, the blind spot she'd memorized years ago. 2 guards. She took them down silently, efficiently. No hesitation. Inside, the compound erupted. Gunfire, shouting. Ju-won's men scrambling. Jane moved through the halls like a ghost. Every corner, every room, exactly where she remembered. Bodies on the stairs. Young Ho's work. The office door was open. Ju-won sat behind his desk. Calm. Almost pleased. My little Viper. His smile was warm. Paternal. I knew you'd come home. Jane entered. Young Ho appeared from the other entrance. They had him surrounded. Ju-won's eyes flicked between them. Together. How poetic. It's over. Jane's voice was steady. Your men are dead or running. Is it? Ju-won stood. No weapon visible. No fear in his eyes. Look at you. Moving like I taught you, killing like I trained you. You can't escape what you are, little Viper. You made me a killer, Jane said. I made you a survivor. He gestured at her. You're alive because of me, powerful because of me. Young Ho's voice was ice. You killed my father. Business. Ju-won shrugged. Young Ho raised his weapon. Enough. Wait. Ju-won's hands stayed visible. Jane. Little Viper. Listen to me. You're pregnant, vulnerable. Come home. We'll raise your child together. Real family. Not this, he gestured at Young Ho, monster who trapped you. Jane felt the baby move inside her, felt the weight of every choice that led here. David and Mia are my real family, she said quietly. They asked nothing, gave everything. You taught me to kill. They taught me to live. Sentiment. Ju-won's expression hardened. You'll regret this. No. Jane raised her weapon. I won't. The shot was clean. Centre mass. Perfect technique. Ju-won staggered. Looked down at the blood spreading across his chest, then up at her. He fell, eyes still open, still staring, then nothing. Silence. Jane lowered the gun. Her hands, steady now. The Viper, finally at rest. Young Ho moved beside her. It's done. Yeah. She couldn't look away from Ju-won's body. It's done. Outside, dawn was breaking, pink and gold across the Queen's skyline. Young Ho's men were cleaning up, disappearing evidence, moving, bodies, professional, efficient. Police sirens wailed in the distance. Jane stood by the car, covered in blood that wasn't hers, exhausted, numb. Young Ho approached, also blood-stained, also exhausted. You're free now, he said. Ju-won's dead. Your family's safe. Jane looked at him. She studied his face. The man who'd trapped her, who'd fought beside her, who'd helped her survive. What I did to you... Young Ho stopped, started again. It was stupid. I was falling in love with you and I got scared, terrified you'd leave. So you trapped me. Yes, I know it's sick. Getting you pregnant to keep you, that was wrong. Yes, it was. I won't ask you to stay, won't ask you to forgive me. Long pause, the sirens getting closer. Young Ho looked at her, uncertain. I'm going to keep the baby, Jane said firmly, and if you want to be part of their life, we figure that out, slowly, as co-parents, not as whatever we were. Friends, maybe? His small smile was sad, but hopeful. A car pulled up. David and Mia in the back seat. Jane walked toward it. She got in the car. David immediately pulled her close, Mia crying with relief. Young Ho watched them drive away, not as a possession, as someone he respected. 7 months later, the Sinclair brownstone looked different, repaired, renewed, the bullet holes patched, new windows, fresh paint. Inside, Jane stood in the nursery, full-term pregnant, hand on her lower back, painting the last wall a soft sage green. The room was perfect, carefully chosen furniture, soft lighting, books already on the shelf. She was building this for her baby. The doorbell rang. Jane set down the paintbrush, walked downstairs, opened the door. Young Ho stood on the stoop. Casual clothes, jeans, a sweater, no suit, no armour, holding wrapped packages. I hope it's okay I came by. I texted, but it's fine. Come in. He entered, looking around. The house looks good. David helped with repairs. Mia picked the paint colours. They're not here. Grocery run. Gave me time to work on the nursery. Young Ho held up the packages. For the nursery. I wasn't sure what you needed. Thank you. That's thoughtful. Can I see it? Jane hesitated, then nodded. Yeah, come up. They climbed the stairs together. She moved slower now, the baby heavy and low. Young Ho took in the nursery, every careful detail. It's perfect. Get in there. He set down the gifts, baby clothes, a mobile with moons and stars, board books. The baby kicked hard. Jane winced, hand on her belly. You okay? Just active today. She paused. Here. She took his hand, placed it on her stomach. The baby kicked against his palm. Young Ho's face transformed. Wonder, awe, gratitude. That's your daughter or son. We don't know yet. His eyes met hers. Thank you for letting me be part of this. They sat on the floor, backs against the wall, comfortable silence. "How are you?" Young Ho asked. "Really?" Scared, excited, still processing everything. "Ju-won. Sometimes I dream about him, about that night, but less now. And me? Us?" Jane looked at him. "I don't know what we are yet. Friends? Yes, that's enough. You're earning it, slowly." They sat together, peaceful. "Doctor's appointment Tuesday if you want to come." His face lit up. "Really? Co-parents, right? You should be there." "I'd like that. A lot." He stood, helped her up carefully. They walked downstairs together. At the door, he paused. "Jane." She looked at him. "I know I can't undo what I did, but I'm going to spend however long it takes proving I can be better. For you. For this baby. I know." He left. Jane watched from the doorway, hand on her belly, closed the door, leaned against it, small smile on her face. She walked back upstairs, sat in the rocking chair David had built, hand on stomach, rocking gently. The baby moved, strong, healthy, hers. "They say you can't escape your past," she whispered. "Maybe that's true. The Viper will always be part of me. The violence, the training, the survival. But I'm also David and Mia's daughter. I'm your mother. I was raised by a monster, trapped by another. But I chose to fight, chose to survive, chose myself. Your father and I don't know what we'll become. Maybe one day we'll be more than friends, maybe not. But right now, we're building something honest, something based on choice, not control." She looked out the window, Brooklyn moving below, life continuing. Some cages are made of steel, others of desperation disguised as love. But freedom is choosing who gets to be in your life. Jane rocked slowly, peacefully. And that choice is mine. Finally, completely, mine. The end. Let me ask you something real. How many of you expected Jane to end up with Young Ho? To forgive him? To fall back into his arms? That's what we're used to, right? The toxic guy changes, the girl forgives everything, and suddenly it's happily ever after. But life doesn't work like that. This story, it's different from my usual content, because sometimes the right ending isn't the romantic one. Sometimes healing means choosing yourself, building something new from broken pieces, learning that love isn't enough if it started with control. Jane didn't get her fairy tale. She got her freedom, her choice, her life on her terms. And you know what? That's more powerful than any love story. If this hit differently for you, if you felt Jane's rage, her fear, her strength, hit that like button right now. It tells me you want more stories that show the messy, complicated, real side of life, not just the fantasy. And subscribe, because I'm going to keep pushing boundaries, keep showing you stories where women don't just survive, they reclaim their power. Things don't always go how we expect, but maybe that's exactly what we need to see now. What did you think Jane should have done? Let me know in the comments.